Hello, everybody, and welcome to Music Industry Insights Worldwide. And today I have the super talented Consuelo with us. How are you?
Thank you. You're so kind, Sas. I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Thanks for asking. And thank you for coming along today to
Oh, my
talk
pleasure.
about your own personal story, what you do, and a little bit more, and sharing some of your insights on some of the barriers and some of the things that you personally go through in the music industry as a unique individual. So thank you very
Hmm.
much.
Thank you for inviting me. My pleasure. I'll try my best.
Oh, no, it's fine. So do you want to tell us a little bit more about where you're from, what you do, and yeah, a little bit more about you?
Oh, thank you. So my name is Spanish, Consuelo, but I'm actually Italian. I'm from Milan, moved to the UK over 20 years ago,
Yeah.
initially to learn the language and then to pursue a music career. Growing up, I was classically trained as a pianist, but in Italy there weren't courses to do with production. So I found a course at Salford University that I wanted to do, and I graduated in 2002. And I've been songwriting ever since in the style of pop. So pop rock, electro pop, and ballads, and some instrumentals as well.
Oh, that's really nice. So obviously coming from Italy to the UK and having to pursue your dream, how has that been for you?
Ah, how long have we got? It wasn't easy at all. Adapting to a different culture, a different way of speaking, doing things, eating. I mean, I find that I have being an Aries, being a musician, and being Italian.
That's a
Perhaps I
mix.
have a right temper. It's it's been quite difficult to learn to adapt. I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of my personality had to be squashed down in
Okay.
order not to be misunderstood. So that's aside the music industry.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm pursuing a dream in the music industry. At the time I was living in Manchester, it was very indie based. And when I graduated, we didn't have things like Zoom and webinars. If you
Yeah.
wanted to record anything, you had to spend thousands of pounds in
Yeah. There's a lot more
studios.
barriers.
And so I have a catalogue that big, of songs that I've not recorded. I've
Yeah.
just um, submitted an application to PRS, hoping to get some funding and just record this vast catalogue.
Oh, fingers
Um,
crossed. I hope you get that funding because it
thank you.
means so much to a lot of people nowadays to see representation of visibility. And obviously,
Yeah.
being a female songwriter, is that what you are? You're a songwriter as well as an artist. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. And I do suffer, and I'm not shy to say it, that I do suffer with anxiety, high anxiety,
Yeah,
and it doesn't affect the songwriting, but it does affect me in other parts of life.
of course.
Uh, and it does obviously impact this whole confidence, this sense that, I'm the whole imposter syndrome thing,
Yeah,
when you wait for so long for things to happen and they don't happen, or it takes so long for something tiny to happen, you start to wonder, is it talent? What is it?
yeah,
um
yeah.
I don't know.
And I don't think any of us have an answer to that question, but I do think it's about passion, dedication, talent, just keep going at what you do and obviously honing on your craft because the more you do that, the more you practice, I think the better you become.
I have bags of passion and bags
Yeah,
of determination.
yeah,
I mean, when I think that, okay, I came here to learn the language, but I stayed through loads of challenges. I mean, I moved house probably about 20, 50 times.
yeah.
And, I've still lived, half of my stuff is still in boxes because I think, well, I'm still renting, so I'm not settled. I'll probably have to move again.
I know that
But
feeling.
when I think that I left my family and my country behind, I refuse to think that I did it for nothing.
Yeah,
I've gone through. My parents have paid for my lessons, my piano lessons, and then I went to uni. And after that, I took singing lessons, and I've
yeah.
never stopped learning. I love learning. I've learned Pro Tools. I've done a course at the Boston Online College.
Oh
I
yeah,
forgot.
Berkeley.
Oh,
Berkeley.
Berkeley, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I've done that, to learn to produce. And I'm always on webinars learning about the current state of the music industry to just to develop, not just creatively, but professionally, and just try and help myself and take this career to the next level to monetize from it. Just so I can call myself a pro.
Well, you are a pro because I've bumped into you in so many different networking events, you know, so many places, and not just here in the UK,
Yeah,
internationally as well. I know you're very
yeah,
passionate. I know you're very keen. I know you're willing to progress and you're very collaborative in the work that you do. So,
yes.
what are kind of the main differences coming from Italy to the UK? What kind of differences do you see?
Actually, to be honest, Italy is very corrupted. I'm sorry to
Right.
say.
No, 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 no. It's the truth. Just you just speak the truth.
Yeah,
That's fine.
but it's really, if it's difficult here in Italy, it's 100 million times more difficult.
Right.
Italians are very much about the voice
Yeah.
and the screaming. If you don't have a screaming voice, then you can't sing.
Okay. Okay.
And it really is about who you know. I mean, I remember when I came out of university and I started songwriting and I recorded three pop songs. And when I was on holiday in Italy, in Milan, I thought, why not? You know, the music industry is in Milan, whilst the film industry is in Rome. I
Right.
went on the doors in Milan of a few record companies,
Yes.
handed it in, but never heard anything. Coming to the UK, I feel that there's a lot more opportunities here.
Okay.
Uh, it is very much London based, which is really annoying.
Yes. It's starting
Yes,
to
a lot
change a little
of,
bit more. It's starting to change a little bit more now. But yeah,
well,
it's very
fingers
much
crossed
still
because
London.
you know, I've seen with the PRS that there's a post going on at the moment. They had a conference to do with Sing. Why on earth they don't broadcast that on YouTube? You know, the technology is there, it's free. When there are conferences at Abbey Road, bless them, they do broadcast them so everyone else can
Yeah.
listen to everything and learn. So I'm stuck here in the seaside town in Sidmouth and I'm missing all the networking and I feel cut out, but I don't have the financial backup to move to London yet.
Right.
Um,
Right.
disability interferes with that because I find it difficult to source some normal employment outside of music,
Right.
which means that money is tight.
Yes.
Money is tight to do music projects, but money is tight to live generally.
I totally
So
understand that. And I think this
yeah,
is part of the problem, isn't it? A lot of our talent is being lost because the talent cannot access financial resources
yeah,
or any
yeah,
form of stability. And I really feel for you because I'm
yeah,
London based, right? But it's very expensive here. And also some of the events are do have a financial barrier to them. So even if I live in London, some of them want to charge £20, £50, depending
yeah,
on the event, right?
yeah,
And if we don't have that financial backing or those resources, then again, it's stopping us from networking, from attending,
yeah,
from collaborating, right? So
yes.
kind of how have you found that and how have you navigated your way around not having money, but still trying to progress? What have you done?
So funny to say, but the pandemic for me, I shouldn't say it this way, but the lockdown, not the
Yes.
pandemic, the lockdown
Yeah.
was a blessing.
And for me as well, actually.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it forced me to get rid of distractions. You know, when you live near beautiful places where you want to go and walk around or, you know, go and enjoy yourself outside by the sea, it forced me to stay here. Prior to the pandemic,
Yes.
my dad had cancer in 2014, and I had to take some time off music
Yeah.
uh, and refocus and help the family. And that is when I stopped gigging. Because historically, growing up, I always wanted to put music to films. Then when I didn't have the money to get the records produced to a certain standards, I thought, okay, I'll try the singer-songwriter route. I got singing lessons and I recorded a couple of them, a couple of EPs, which
Yeah.
I've not released yet because they're only demos and I'm not confident on the quality. But they are on Bandcamp if anyone wanted to
Okay.
see this. So then so I kind of lost. So sorry. So when my dad had the cancer and I refocused and I thought, okay, perhaps um, touring is not for me if I've got to be able to just pick up and
Yeah.
go and help the family.
Yeah.
So I decided I wanted to write for other artists and sing.
Okay.
And so during the pandemic, that forced me to learn things like social media. So you name it, I was doing not one, but three or four webinars a day to
Yeah.
connect, to learn, to engage, to learn how to engage, to help myself promote and market. And then on Eventbrite, I found there were loads and loads of webinars everywhere from organizations like the Songwriting Academy, which is UK based, but also
Yeah.
the AT, which is Canada based,
Yeah.
some in Australia. Whatever was there, I would attend because I think it's a bit lazy when people say, "Oh, but I don't know how to do that." But I mean, if an event is free and it's online, what stops you doing it?
And I think COVID actually stopped a lot of people from charging for those events as well, right? Because a lot of
Yeah,
them were free. And once you
great.
got into it, you're kind of locked into this network, which I found was really fun because I met loads of people doing that. And you could just sit in your front room.
Yes,
It didn't cost you a
yeah,
penny. And you could go
yeah,
all around the world. But some of that's changed now. And I've noticed they are starting to charge you a little bit more to attend some of these events, unfortunately.
yeah. It's really frustrating because I was a member of the musicians union, I was a member of the Ivers, but
Yeah,
everything went back to London, and I thought, well, what is the point?
right.
So if I had to choose a way to further my career, and I could not afford all these memberships, this is where I found that maybe the Guild of Music Supervisors would
Yes.
help me get further, network, and
Yeah,
try
of
and get
course.
sing placements, because I have to build credibility. At the moment, I've got all these skills, all this experience,
Yeah.
but absolutely no credibility. Why should they commission me? I am absolutely no one. So,
No, it's not that. It's about you proving yourself and getting those commissions and saying,
yeah,
look, this is who I am and this is what I've achieved. So look at it in a positive instead of a negative.
yeah,
And I'm pretty sure you'll get somewhere, Consuelo, because you're always working hard. You're really good at what you do. I've
yeah.
heard some of your songs from some songwriting camps, and I know
Thank
that
you.
you are unique in a way that you love to know about an artist. You love to get into their story. You love to know
Yeah.
their personality. So tell us a little bit more about that in songwriting and how that links
Yes,
up.
so thank you. So recently I participated to Camp 7,
Yes.
and I have to write to some live briefs. One of the artists on the brief was Pink. And because I wasn't able to talk to Pink's A&R, I did phone Sony in London, but I couldn't get past the receptionist. So she said to email. I sent the email, but again, I didn't hear anything. So
Yeah.
all I could do was, I am a big fan of Pink anyway, but I didn't know, I hadn't seen a lot of her documentaries or interviews. So I literally worked from 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. in the morning,
Yes.
going through all her albums, writing a spreadsheet with all the songs and what the songs were about, what imagery she'd already used. I had to work by exclusion. So
Yeah.
in order to write a song that she hadn't already written.
Right. Yeah, that
This is
makes
how
sense.
serious I am.
That makes a lot of sense. When you're writing for another artist, you're not writing for yourself. So
Yes,
understand what they represent and what they've already covered, which a lot of
yes,
songs don't really think about. So I was just thinking, this lady, she's onto a winner. She does something different. She does something that I've not seen a lot of people do,
do
which is
not.
actually take your time and not to rush and to,
Yes.
tick off the boxes and say, actually, this artist has already covered this, or this artist hasn't covered that, or this artist generally covers these topics. So how does that help you to come up with your creativity, your style, your songs for those people?
Well, I was watching a lot of her documentaries and some interviews, and I was literally writing down lines that she was saying and
Okay.
thinking, oh, this is her history. And so that was helping me. When I watch a movie these days, and I never sit without a little pad next to me, because I might hear
And just write
something
it
that I
down.
think
Yeah.
that would be a great title or something,
Yeah.
a great
A
line.
little phone and you've got a little speaker and you're just
Yeah,
like in
before,
your
yeah,
brain.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
melody. If I'm walking around and I start whistling a melody, I'll record it. Or if I'm sat in a cafe and I hear a conversation, I'll write it down. And so that will generate ideas for lyrical concepts. Because I mean, when you're writing for Sing, for example, you have to write universal themes of love, life, empowerment. I mean,
Right.
these songs have been written countless of times, but you have
Yeah.
to find a different angle,
Okay.
and you can find it anywhere. I mean, when people say that they go through um, what do you call it? Creative blocks, I think.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
You
songwriters
know,
block, or they can't, yeah, I've heard of
it's
that.
everywhere. You know, that there's,
Right.
for me, it's completely the opposite. 10 lives wouldn't be enough to just accomplish all the ideas I've got in my mind. And this is the frustrating thing. I don't
Yeah.
have the money or the infrastructure around the team, the producer or the singer that I can phone and say, let's do this and
Yeah.
get it down and get it done in a day, because you can't get it done in a day. We did that at the camp, but it's hard not having that. And when I had to do the song, it took me ages to find the singer.
Yeah.
I didn't have the money. I contacted people at the camp. No one was interested in writing an empowerment song. People were more into the K-pop scene. And very kindly, a contact of mine in London, Francesca Confortini, she said that, that she thinks jazz generally, and she
I love
wanted to try
jazz.
and break into the pop.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
So she did it. But again, I only did it in an acoustic way because someone said to me something that made sense once. It said, don't tear your hair out. If you can't do everything and get it produced like Max Martin does,
Yeah.
then work with what you've got. I've
Yeah.
got my piano
Yeah.
and I've got the tools, and so I recorded it. She sang it and I sent it. I've not heard anything yet, but fingers crossed.
Exactly. It does take time, doesn't it? And it's also about enjoying yourself and having a
Yeah.
good time with
Yes.
making songs. And you've touched on something that I found really, really interesting as well. So you're writing songs for songs and you're writing songs for sync. And they're two different
Yeah.
things, aren't
So I write songs from the heart. I don't
they? Yeah.
purposely write them to sing. But
Yeah.
when I'm thinking of a song, I write it in a way that can be universal. So I wouldn't say she said or he said. I would say you said, because that
Okay.
then can be everyone.
Right.
Or if you try and not write people's first names or dates or names of location, then you've got more of a chance of that landing on a movie. If a song said today at 8:30 I was at Manchester, then you have to find the movie that we'll talk
Right.
about.
So it's more
That's
specific
like,
and instead of being
yeah.
general. So you're very
Yeah.
generalized rather than being
Yeah.
specific. Is that right?
So yes, it could be a
Yeah.
specific story. I remember one of my Christmas songs is about a kitten. So it's about that precise thing. It's not a general story about Christmas,
Yeah.
but it's still general. The kitten didn't have a name, or
I get where you're coming from. So
yeah.
it could be anyone's kitten rather than the kitten. It's just
So
a
the
kitten.
people, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So the people, it will speak to a lot of people, and people will what's the word? They will relate.
Identify to that.
That's
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
want, don't we? We want to relate to music.
Of course we
Yeah,
do. Yeah. And we want to make it kind of personal to our own experiences, even though we didn't write it. So I think that's really important as well, isn't it? Songwriting.
yeah. I mean, for me, the dream would be someone. A few times I've come across that when I play something, or I turn around and they're in tears, and I'm thinking, Was it such a bad performance?" And they're
It's
saying, "No, it's
emotion.
just
It's the emotion,
it's
isn't it?
emotional," and I never even realized.
Yeah.
And so the dream would be for me, obviously, other than making this a paying career, would be someone saying, "You really changed my life positively."
That's
You
lovely.
That is the dream, really.
Yeah.
It's to make an impact, positive impact to people's lives. I think that's why really artists do it
Yeah.
more than just the
And if we
money. For
want to
me,
kind of,
it's never been about the money.
yeah, and if we kind of want to make sure that everyone around the country can access songwriting
Yeah,
and the music industry, what kind
yes,
of solutions would you come up with and say, look, a lot of things are London centric. How could we make it more accessible for people like yourself that are outside of London that want to network and collaborate and still learn because you're ever learning all the time, right? And the music industry is forever evolving. So how can we make that better?
I would take the party or whatever it is, the conference, out and do it regionally,
Yeah.
regional. So maybe do a northwest one in
Okay.
Manchester or Liverpool,
Yeah.
northeast, or a south one in Bristol, or because really it's not like, for example, when I did I attended a production songwriting camp courtesy of Media Tracks UK in London, and
Yeah,
bless them, they gave me a bursary, and I didn't have to pay the £100. But it's
lovely.
still costing me £400. Although I stayed at the cheap travel lodge, I didn't stay at the Ritz.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
still a lot of money, because a travel lodge outside London would be £30, but in London it's still over £100.
yes,
And it means that people can do things less. I don't really know what the solution would be. I just think that they have to try and take it outside of London, or maybe
yeah,
do live feeds, when they have conferences. I mean, I'm a member of PRS. Why was this conference not accessible to me? It was
right.
easy for them to just stick a mic, and
Yeah,
do a live
and
podcast.
film it on Zoom. Yeah, I get where you're
I
coming
don't want, yeah, I don't really want to point fingers. I love PRS,
from.
but I don't know. Also, thinking about disabled people, there's so many different ways they can make it more accessible. Starting from captions when they do
Yeah, so
webinars, yeah, to make it more accessible for concerts, for people physically unable to play on stage. I don't really know. That maybe goes beyond my.
no, I think that's actually a really good point because I think a lot of the time disabled people are forgotten about and not just forgotten about, sometimes left on the sidelines a lot of the time, along with other trans and non-binary individuals, where sometimes there's other issues around mental health, anxiety,
Yes,
depression,
yes,
image, there's lots of different issues, and also women sometimes not feeling safe, in certain
yeah.
spaces or being able to turn up. So I think we need to do more to make sure it is really inclusive and equitable.
Mhm.
I think is what you're saying, isn't it? Is making it more equal for everybody because there is that hierarchical structure in the music
Yes.
industry. So we're trying to break that, but I think it's quite difficult when we're coming from the bottom up. So I think it's about having the bottom up and the top down working towards the same goal, isn't it?
And maybe things like the initiatives that you do, the conferences you speak
Yeah.
at, that's great to bring awareness of what we need. It's really labels as well. They should do a lot more to bring awareness. Sometimes you see all the people succeeding. Yesterday, I don't want to say the name, but I was looking at a, a publisher's roster. And
Yes.
okay, the fee, and then apart from the roster, they had a featured roster, maybe people that have big achievements. The first person was a female, but
Yes.
then the rest of them, maybe they had 12 of them, were all males.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was watching a documentary of a few days ago. I had laryngitis and I couldn't do demo singing, and so I sat down and watched a lot of documentaries. You name it, Dua Lipa, Lady Gaga, Adele,
I
all
love
sorts.
watching documentaries. You learn so
Yeah,
much. You
yeah, learning where how it happened for them and what
know.
struggles they went through that might help me. And in Lady Gaga's creative room, there wasn't a single female, and I was thinking maybe this, she hasn't planned that. Maybe she really gets on with males more.
Right.
When I look at Pink, she has a lot of females around there, choreographers, dancers. I think there's a female guitarist, if not a bass player,
Yes.
and you feel like it's more even.
Okay.
Uh, so I feel, for
I think it's a
the
personal choice.
minority.
So do you
Huh?
think sometimes it's a personal choice depending on the person and who they get on with, who they might work with, rather than it just being a sake of, well, they're all men or they're all women. It might just be a personal thing, right? Is that what you're
You
saying?
could, yes, I think, I know I've been asked before as a woman, have I found it difficult to
Yeah.
navigate the music industry?
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't say I have because no one's ever come up to me and said, you're not going to produce that because you're a woman
Right.
or anything like that. But when you look at rosters, when you look at documentaries, you do see how male dominated it is. But it could also be the fact that women are the ones that carry babies.
Yes.
The woman will have to physically, feed the baby, and
Yes.
the man
Yeah.
can pick up and go. So it could be that they're chosen for that reason because they don't have to take the time off.
Yeah, possibly. It could be partly that, and it could also be, sometimes it's image, sometimes it's, you know,
Yeah.
the working hours that people work as well. So it's not very
Yeah,
child friendly, for example. It's a lot of
sadly.
hours and early mornings and late nights, you know. So all of
Yes.
those things need to be taken into account as well. And it's not safe sometimes for women in certain environments. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think you have a great point, actually.
it's true. Trying to think. I was thinking of something that's just gone over my head.
It's okay. It'll come back to you soon. Don't worry. We've still got plenty of time. So, kind of, what are your thoughts and feelings at the moment around, inclusion and equality, diversity, representation in the music industry? Are we making the right moves? Are we going in the right direction? Or do you still think we need to do more?
Oh, I definitely think we could always do more. But to be honest, I don't think I have enough knowledge to be able to give you a fair, good answer.
Okay.
Um, I think in general we could do a lot more,
Yeah.
not just in the music industry. I don't
Yeah.
know how.
Do you
Uh,
think you could see more faces, more diversity, more different voices speaking up and getting opportunities? Do you think that would help?
in what respects of it, more faces?
In kind of more different diverse faces from different backgrounds, different cultures,
Yeah,
all coming together and having a voice and having that representation at the table and being able to see themselves in the industry. Do you think that would help?
I think it would definitely help. I think that the organizations like PRS and the IVERS, they have a committee of people. Now, I
Yeah,
don't know who's on there at the moment to
yeah,
be able to say whether that's um, a group that is formed from different people of different backgrounds.
yes.
Um, but sometimes I look at who's been awarded, and I think, oh, is that equal? Is there enough women and men and
Mhm.
you know, people with different backgrounds. I don't want to say that. I don't want to describe people with the wrong adjective. This is why
Yeah.
I'm being a
No,
bit
no, no.
vague.
I
Uh,
understand language can be a bit tricky, but you're not saying it in an offensive way. So don't worry about making any mistakes. I think we get the general gist of what you're saying. So don't worry. It's fine.
I've always been a bit advocate of equality and diversity. Being someone who's come to live in a foreign country, I've been given a
Yeah.
lot by the UK. I
Yeah.
can't say that I've not had good opportunities,
Yeah.
but from Brexit onwards, I really have struggled generally in
Right.
the workplace.
Right.
And feel that I've been discriminated racially and on counts of health. But I can't say that I've seen this in the music industry. For me, the struggle in the music industry is reaching the right people. For example, if I'm writing a song for Pink and if I'm phoning Sony, will you put me through to the right people? Will you give me guidance? Will you not
Yeah.
let me second guess? Because I want to
Yeah.
do a good job.
Yeah.
Things like that. Is
Yeah.
why I appreciate these people have a job to do, and if the receptionist put them through to me, then that she will, it, then she will probably put them through to another 100,000 people, and these people couldn't do their jobs. So I really don't know what the answer is. I know that I work at it all day and every day. I don't take a day off. I feel guilty for taking a day off. I think, oh
So do
no,
I
if
actually. I do that all the
I,
time. I'm like, oh no, I
yeah,
feel like I'm doing something wrong if I'm not doing something to do with music.
yeah.
So yeah, I
Well,
know.
I know there is interest because I have Richard Goldstein of All Guys Were Music in New
Yeah.
York. They've taken on a bunch of my songs non-exclusively, so I know there is interest. But then it boils down to that: why aren't the songs being placed, or why aren't the songs being cut? And then I just think is. But there's also now, I think the coming of AI. I don't see that particularly as a good thing.
No, I think a lot of artists don't see it as a good thing either at the moment. So that's another tricky area that we haven't really touched on, which I don't think we will have much time on because we've only got about 8 minutes left. But I do think
Okay.
that's another thing that I know a lot of artists are signing up to protect, not just their music, but their voice
Yeah.
and their style,
Yeah.
because AI
Yeah.
can steal some of that and try and copy artists. So I do think we need to look at that actually. It's a really important point you make.
I'm just
Yeah.
thinking it's going to slash jobs,
Yeah.
the session singers' jobs, and
Yes.
also people who worked for years and paid God knows how much money in lessons and courses and I think if the general job blog can go online and push a few knows how to click
Yeah.
things and the
Yeah.
song is created in 30 seconds.
Yes.
I just feel overwhelmed because I think, what about all I worked towards,
But
you
they
know.
can never beat human emotion and experience. And I think a computer can get
No,
part of it, but they don't have that real lived experience, which is something
yeah,
we do have. And, you know, I think it could kind of imitate some of the stuff we come up with, but it could never come up with something that we've actually, you know, we've really completely got because they're not human. So it's kind of
yeah,
computerized. And I get where you're coming from. So yeah, I
you're right.
totally feel for you on that one. But I do try and stay positive and think, you know, if we can use AI in the right ways,
Yeah,
then it can always help keep our workload smarter rather than keep
definitely.
using it as a tool to get somewhere, maybe as an
Yeah,
addition to what we already do, you know. So I think
I
that's really
agree.
important.
You
So
too.
we're running out of time right now, so we've got 4
Yes.
minutes left. Is there
Sure.
anywhere that the listeners and viewers can find you, find your work, and yeah, maybe connect with you in the future?
I'd love to. So my music is available on all the general digital platforms. I'm on particularly I'm on Instagram. I do Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube.
Yeah,
And I'm down as consu.uk, but the actual words dot.
yeah.
So CONSUDOTUK. That's my social handle.
Brilliant. And I'll
And
leave that in the description below as
yeah,
well. So the listeners can just click on it instead of trying to spell it. I'll leave all of that down below as well.
you-
So the listeners can find that.
all my songs are available to be covered, cut for licensing. This is what who I do it for. I
Mm.
don't perform these days.
Okay.
Uh, I'd love people to just engage and let me know what they enjoy or what they
Yeah.
want to hear more of.
Okay. And if anyone's got any songwriting camps, invite Consuelo along to those. Any
Yes,
songwriting networking events, any sync placements, go check out the music. She's got some great stuff going on there. And
that's
any major wins and successes that you'd like to share with us before you go see.
Oh, in 2022, I was awarded the COVID-19 Composer Award by Sound and Music. It's very
Congratulations.
kind, thank you. And then the year after, Help Musicians awarded me with the Record and Release Award, and I
Fantastic.
managed to release the Christmas album with that.
Well
Um,
done.
and then I had a bunch of songs being played on BBC Introducing. I guess these are probably my biggest achievements so far.
They are big achievements. Well done, you. I wish I could
Thank
say
you.
that. Keep going.
Oh,
Keep up the amazing work. That's really, really
get
good. You know, yeah, step by step, we'll get there, step by step. And yeah, that's the way it works. Oh, well done. I've really enjoyed this podcast
there.
session. You've really
Thank you.
shared some really insightful information with all of us. And I just wish you all the best in the future. And I hope some good things come out of our chat today and that you just stay positive and keep doing the amazing work that you do.
Thank you so much, Saz. You're always so warm and so
Oh, thank
positive.
you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh,
Wish
it's
you
a
all the
blessing,
best.
honestly. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Take care.
You
Bye.
too.